In the dim glow of a setting sun over the vast expanse of the Naval Weapons Station in Yorktown, Virginia, Admiral Thomas Blackwell stood tall on the firing range. His uniform was crisp, metals glinting like distant stars. He reached out, his hand closing around the barrel of Sergeant Emily Carter's Barrett .50 caliber sniper rifle. "This isn't for you, girl," he snarled. But in a flash, Emily twisted, her grip like iron. A crack echoed as his hand shattered. She reclaimed her weapon, aimed, and fired 9 shots, each one striking its target dead center. The range fell silent, or replacing doubt. That moment would change everything. But to understand it, we must go back, to the quiet beginnings where doubt simmered like a slow brewing storm. Emily Carter had always felt the pull of the sea and the sky, but her true home was the earth beneath her boots on the firing line. Born in a small town in Ohio, she grew up with a father who taught her to shoot cans off fence posts with an old .22 rifle. "Steady breath, steady hand," he'd say, his voice calm as a summer lake. Those lessons stuck, carrying her through boot camp and into the ranks of the U.S. Navy's elite marksmanship unit. At 32, with sun-kissed skin and eyes sharp as eagle's talons, Emily was one of the best. Yet, in a world of brass and bravado, being the best wasn't always enough. The base in Yorktown was a sprawling complex of concrete bunkers, grassy fields, and the constant hum of machinery. Mornings started with the sharp crack of gunfire, afternoons with strategy sessions in stuffy rooms. Emily's days blended into one another. Rise at dawn, train until dusk, prove herself again and again. She loved the rhythm, the way the rifle became an extension of her arm, the bullet a whisper of precision. But lately, a shadow had crept in. Admiral Thomas Blackwell, newly assigned to oversee the station's weapons development, brought with him old ideas wrapped in authority. Thomas was a man forged in the fires of past wars, 60 years old, with a jaw like chiseled granite and a voice that boomed across parade grounds. He had risen through the ranks on sheer will. Vietnam veteran, Gulf War commander, he wore his scars like badges, but time had hardened him, turning respect into rigidity. Women in combat roles, he tolerated them, but deep down, he believed the front lines belonged to men. Emily had heard the whispers, Blackwell's from another era, doesn't think a lady can handle the big guns. It started small, the problem that anyone could relate to, or the sting of being underestimated. During a routine inspection, Thomas paused at Emily's station. She was cleaning her Barrett, the massive 50 calories rifle that could punch through armor at over a mile. Its black stock gleamed under the fluorescent lights, the scope adjusted just so. "Impressive piece," he said, his tone laced with sarcasm. "You sure you can manage the recoil, Sergeant Carter?" "Wouldn't want you bruising that pretty shoulder." Emily paused, her cloth mid-wipe. She met his gaze steadily. "I've qualified expert on it, sir, multiple times." Her voice was even, no edge, just fact. But inside, a flicker of frustration stirred. Why did she have to defend her place? She'd earned it through sweat and skill, not favors. Thomas chuckled, a low rumble, and walked on. But the seed was planted. Days turned to weeks, and the tension built like clouds gathering before rain. Thomas began inserting himself into training sessions. He'd stand at the edge of the range, arms crossed, watching Emily with narrowed eyes. "Carter, your form's off," he barked during drills. "Too delicate. Push harder." The other sailors exchanged glances. Emily's form was flawless. She hit targets with eerie accuracy, her breaths measured, her focus unbreakable. Yet Thomas nitpicked, assigning her extra duties, questioning her reports. It was subtle at first, a drip of doubt eroding her confidence. One evening, as the sun dipped low, painting the sky in oranges and pinks, Emily sat alone in the barracks. The room was sparsely a bunk, a locker, a photo of her father on the wall. She traced the rifle's outline in her mind, feeling the weight of Thomas's words. "Why me?" she whispered to the empty air. It wasn't just about her, it was every woman who'd fought for a seat at the table, only to have it pulled away. The problem felt universal, the quiet battle against those who saw limits where none existed. She breathed deep, letting the emotion settle, a calm resolve forming like dew on grass. The next morning brought a shift, subtle yet palpable. The base buzzed with news of a high-stakes demonstration. Visiting dignitaries from Washington were coming to see the latest in sniper tech. Thomas announced it in the briefing room, his voice commanding attention. "We'll showcase our best. Carter, you'll assist with setup. Leave the shooting to the pros." Emily's jaw tightened, but she nodded. "Assist?" She'd outshot every pro on base. Whispers rippled through the ranks. "And unfair," they said. But orders were orders. As preparations unfolded, the atmosphere thickened. The firing range was transformed, targets set at varying distances, wind flags fluttering gently. Emily worked methodically, calibrating scopes, loading magazines. Thomas hovered, his presence a constant pressure. "Careful with that Barrett," he muttered once, close enough for her to smell his aftershave. "It's not a toy." She ignored him, focusing on the task, but her mind raced. This was her chance to prove him wrong, yet he blocked the path. Tension rose like the midday heat. During a practice run, one of the male shooters missed a long-range target. Thomas laughed it off. "Shake it out, son. Happens to the best." But when Emily volunteered to demonstrate adjustment, he waved her away. "Not now, Carter." "Stick to support." The words hung heavy, a barrier she couldn't ignore. Her hands clenched, nails digging into palms. Around her, the base felt alive via the distant roar of jets, the metallic tang of gun oil, the camaraderie of her team. Yet isolation crept in, a relatable ache for anyone who'd been sidelined. That afternoon, with the sun high and shadows short, the dignitaries arrived. Suits and ties mingled with uniforms, chatter filling the air. Thomas took center stage, gesturing grandly. "Gentlemen, witness the pinnacle of naval marksmanship." The demo began. Shooters lined up, rifles cracking in sequence. Emily stood off to the side, her Barrett slung over her shoulder, watching. One by one, they hit targets a good, but not perfect. Wind shifted, complicating shots. Thomas beamed, but his eyes flicked to Emily, a challenge unspoken. Then came the turning point, gentle yet firm, like a river bending around a stone. As the lead shooter fumbled a reload, Thomas stepped forward. "Let me show you how it's done." He turned, his gaze landing on Emily's rifle. Without warning, he reached out, grabbing the Barrett's barrel to pull it from her grasp. "Hand it over, Carter. This isn't for you." Time slowed. Emily's training kicked in, and not just marksmanship, but self-defense honed over years. His fingers tightened, yanking hard. She pivoted, her free hand snapping up in a precise block. A twist, a leverage point exploited a crack. Thomas's hand buckled, bones giving way under expert pressure. He yelped, staggering back, cradling his wrist. The range fell hush, eyes wide. Emily stood firm, rifle secure. "With respect, sir, it is for me." Her voice was calm, no malice, just truth. The dignitaries murmured, tension electric. Thomas's face twisted in pain and fury. "You'll be court-martialed for this." But the twist unfolded softly, a breakthrough wrapped in quiet strength. One of the visitors, a silver-haired general, stepped in. "Hold on, Admiral. Let's see what she's got." He nodded to the target's 9 left standing, distant and defiant. "Show us, Sergeant." Emily exhaled slowly, the world narrowing to the rifle in her hands. She knelt, stock to shoulder, eye to scope, breath in, out. The first shot boomed, target 1 shattered. Pause. Wind whispered. She adjusted. Second showed perfect, the rhythm built, each pull of the trigger a statement. 3, 4, 5 as the crowd held its breath. 6, 7 Thomas watched, hand throbbing, expression shifting from anger to astonishment. 8, 9 bullseyes, every one. Applause erupted, slow at first, then thunderous. Emily lowered the rifle, standing tall. The gentle twist revealed not vengeance, but capability. She defended her ground without rage, turning doubt into demonstration. As the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the range, Emily walked away from the commotion. Medics tended to Thomas, who muttered apologies through gritted teeth. "Didn't know." Impressive. The base settled into evening calm, lights flickering on like stars. Emily returned to her barracks, the photo of her father watching over her. She sat, rifle cleaned and stowed, reflecting on the day. The ending came with emotional grounding, a satisfaction deep as roots in soil. Emily realized it wasn't just about the shots or the broken hand, it was about claiming space in a world that sometimes forgot to make room. Her father's words echoed, "Steady breath, steady hand." She'd honored that, and in doing so, inspired others. Whispers spread through the Bazi, women signing up for advanced training, men rethinking old biases. In the quiet of night, Emily looked out at the stars. Strength wasn't in force alone, but in persistence, in proving worth through action. And for anyone feeling unseen, her story whispered, "Stand firm, aim true." Perhaps it's time you did the Samuel. Pick up your own rifle, whatever it may be, and show the world your mark.